Today is Tuesday, the 17th of March 2026, St Patrick's Day. Where would Australia be without the Irish? It doesn't bear thinking about. I'm at Scarborough Beach, the northern suburbs of Perth, Western Australia. If you've never been to Perth, you go there for the first time and make the mistake of telling people you've never been here before, you will soon learn that Perth is the greatest place on earth, the most beautiful city, the best beer, the best footballers and the best beaches. You're probably right about the best beaches. Behind me is the Indian Ocean. As a young man, I jumped on a beautiful sailing boat at Northwest Cape, about 1,000 kilometres north of here, and we sailed across the Indian Ocean. The first port of call was the Cocos Atoll, that's 1,100 nautical miles. The next one was 1,500 nautical miles of boisterous sailing to the Chagos Archipelago, where we spent a few days anchored in the lagoon of Diego Garcia and watched 1,700 American Seabees, that's the construction arm of the US Navy, building a major naval base. Very impressive. I wrote a story about that was published in the Weekend News in Perth, probably August or September 1975, not hard to find. On New Year's Eve, a couple of months ago, I wrote a little story called War or Peace, that is the question, in which I wrote that the challenge facing us in 2026 was to avoid nuclear war. We have not made a good start. That story was not published, so I am appending it to this little homily on the beach. I'm also appending a story I wrote at the time of the sabotage of the Nord Stream pipeline. That was posted and published. What I'm talking about and writing about here is war and peace. And as we are now experiencing the side effects of war, we are more appreciative of the benefits of peace. On the 28th of February, Saturday the 28th of February, just a couple of weeks ago, I was in Northam, which is the major town in the region of Western Australia we call the Central Wheat Belt. I had a swim at their excellent swimming pool, and after that I checked my phone and my friend in Tasmania texted me. She'd been listening to Al Jazeera and she said the war had started. We'd been hoping against hope that it would not start, that extraordinary force of nature, Donald Trump, whom we have supported for years because of his promise to normalise relations with Russia, would somehow find an off-ramp to this crazy war with Iran, which he obviously didn't want to get involved in, which is totally irrational. Iran poses no threat to America. America has no quarrel with Iran. Israel has no quarrel with Iran. Driving back that night between the wheatbelt towns of Meckering and Goomalling, I was listening to the car radio and I heard the ABC News, probably the 7 o'clock news, it was getting dark, confirming that the war had started. And then our Prime Minister came on the air, Anthony Albanese, and said, we support the United States and Israel in their attack on Iran. We don't support the United States and Israel in this war. The United States people do not support this war. I don't support it. I don't support Iran. I would not support Israel in a darts competition at the local pub. I don't support the United States, I meant to say. I support Iran. Most of all, I support Palestine, because the struggle of the people of Palestine for their existence is our struggle. It's every man's struggle. The fight of the Palestinians for their lives and their freedom is our fight. It's every man's fight. To understand Iran, you just have to go back to the history, all of which has occurred in my lifetime, in the lifetime of all those baby boomers, to 1952, 53, when the Iranians elected a reforming Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, a great guy who had the idea, whose central policy was that the Iranian people should get some benefit from their oil, from their own resources, rather than having the benefit going to the City of London and Wall Street. This is a familiar story for Australians. President Eisenhower, at first, was very supportive of Mossadegh. He said we should give this guy $10 million, which is a lot of money in 1952. But Winston Churchill was having his final spell as Prime Minister of Britain, and he was horrified with the uppity Iranians. MI6 got going, and at the local level, they were supported by the CIA agent Kermit Roosevelt, a distant relative of the famous political family, and they created chaos to such a degree that Eisenhower gave up and a coup was undertaken. And we know the story. We experienced it here. The same guys, CIA, MI6, gave us the work over in 1975 and again in 2010. They are experts. The reason that the Republic of Iran is an Islamic republic is because the only place political activists could meet when they were working against the Shah, who was a puppet of the Americans, was in the mosque. I don't know, we don't know, who told Anthony Albanese in the very first hours of this war, on the 28th of February, Saturday, that he had to kiss Donald Trump's ass and lick the boots of Benjamin Netanyahu. Before the Iranian responders had even got through the rubble of the first American salvo. We don't know who tells our government what to do and who tells the opposition what to do. Who tells the Labor Party and the Liberal Party, the Uni-Party, what to do. We don't know. What we do know is we don't tell them. They are not working for us. It is not the mission of Australia to be an appendage of the British Empire or to be a little bit of Godzilla, the American Empire, now thrashing around in its death throes. That is not our mission. This is a country, take a walk around the nearest shopping centre. This is a country where every race on earth, every colour on earth, every religion on earth gets together just on fine. We don't care if people worship a god, or if they worship a dozen gods, or if they take off their clothes at midnight, run around the park bare-ass naked, and worship the moon. We don't care if they think the whole business is a load of superstitious malarkey. It's their business, it's not our business, it's not our government's business. Australia's mission is to be the place on earth where we have and sustain an egalitarian, free society. That is our mission for two reasons. Because of all the places on earth, Australia has the best chance of creating that society. We're an island nation continent. We're surrounded by this massive ocean behind us on the west coast and by the huge Pacific on the east coast. There is nothing stopping us having that society that egalitarian society, that free society, and that's the second reason, because such a society, a free society, is the only hope for mankind to have a future on Earth, for the Earth to have a future. So what I'm talking about and writing about here is war and peace. I'm talking about an ideal, the only ideal, Beethoven's ideal, the brotherhood of man. Or as we say at Christmas, peace on earth and goodwill towards men.